51 in Portland, 54 Medford, 47 in Reno, and 50 in Boise. Have a great day, everybody.
On World News Tonight this Tuesday, George Bush wins the Republican primary in Virginia. In California, Bill Bradley is trying to stay relevant. A boy shoots a girl in a Michigan school. He was 6 and so was she. When so many people are about to drown in the Mozambique floods, why are there so few helicopters? And billions of dollars in unpaid taxes. We'll take a closer look at some corporations which will make you angry.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everybody. The polls have closed in Virginia, and ABC News projects that Governor George Bush is the winner in the Virginia Republican primary tonight. He's going to win all 56 delegates in this winner-take-all state. Once again, it was Mr. Bush's overwhelming advantage among Republican voters that tells the story. The preliminary exit polls indicate that 2/3 of the voters, 65%, were Republicans. Virginia's an open primary, so 27% of the voters were independents, and as you can see, 8% were Democrats. Last week in Michigan, which Senator McCain won, less than half the voters were Republicans. So we see once again Mr. Bush doing very well with his Republican base. Take a look at the top line there. He wins 71% of their votes. You can see Mr. McCain over there in the right-hand column wins with independents and Democrats, but he wins only 25% of Republicans. That is lower than Michigan, South Carolina, or New Hampshire. Mr. Bush was actually campaigning in Ohio today. Super Tuesday's coming up, and ABC's Dean Reynolds is with him. Well, Dean, the obvious story is he's a happy man, certainly happier than he's been in the last few days.
No question about it, Peter. You know, he's looking at those same figures that you were pointing out, his massive margin in Republican voters. And they also point out that this Virginia primary was an open primary. It's the kind of contest that John McCain is supposed to be doing very well in. They say, the Bush people say, they are actually improving among independents. And they say that the showing in Virginia proves that Senator McCain's criticism of the religious conservatives just did not really work for him. It worked to Governor Bush's advantage.
Be that as it may, Dean, they still must appreciate they have a problem with independents and Democrats if he gets all the way through to the fall.
Oh, there's no question about that, but you can see him now beginning to tack more toward the political center, emphasizing things like tax cuts and education. They believe those are the things that made him popular in the first place, and they would like everyone to sort of think that the South Carolina campaign is a momentary aberration.
Thanks very much, Dean Reynolds, with the Bush campaign tonight. John McCain was not expecting to win in Virginia, but he'd hoped to finish close enough to show that he is a long-term threat to Mr. Bush. Mr. McCain is trying to get the message across that in the general election, he's the Republican who can beat the Democrats. ABC's Linda Douglas is with him, and she's in California tonight. He took a bit of a beating today, more than perhaps he'd anticipated.
More than he did anticipate. They thought that they were probably going to lose Virginia. I don't think they thought they were going to lose this big. What they're saying, the spin out of the McCain campaign is, well, this underscores their argument that George Bush is a strong regional candidate, that region being the South. They are saying this shows that George Bush is strong in a state where Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson, the television evangelist that McCain has been railing against, lives. And what they're saying here in California is that John McCain is the candidate with the broader appeal. He can win in the North, the Midwest, perhaps here in the West, California, with his appeal to Democrats and independents. But also, he's got to win with Republicans, and that's what he's trying to do here.
Thanks very much, Linda Douglas. In California, our political analyst, George Stephanopoulos, is with us this evening. George, you look at the exit polls tonight. What do you see firsthand?
Well, I think that taking on Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell in Virginia backfired. Clearly, McCain's favorability went down here. His support among the religious right went down. What McCain is going to need tonight is a good showing in Washington. As Linda said, he's trying to say that Bush is a regional candidate. If you see similar numbers in Washington tonight that you saw in Virginia, Bush is going to have the big mo going into Super Tuesday.
Let's talk a little bit about McCain's campaign against the religious conservative leaders in Virginia this week. It didn't pay off for him in Virginia, but maybe he was talking to people in other parts of the country.
But next week, Super Tuesday, New York, a moderate state, California, a big open primary in the beauty contest, but also Washington State tonight, generally more moderate, more liberal. That's why we will see some early evidence of whether it can work in the West Coast or the East Coast tonight.
Still, George, Mr. McCain, just looking at the terrain out ahead of him, all the terrain that is, has a real challenge ahead of him. It's not easy.
Very tough. His best states were at the beginning. As you go forward, more of the states are closed to independents and Democrats. Bush has a big day on March 14th. Two big states, Texas and Florida, where his brother is the governor, where he should do very, very well. And it's slim pickings for McCain after that. His biggest hopes are maybe Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and that doesn't come until April 4th.
George, in just a second, we're going to look at the Democratic race up in Washington. Do you want to make any quick few-second observation about it?
Bill Bradley's last stand. He's got to win here, and that'll barely carry him on to New York and California. It really looks like these are the final days of the Bradley campaign.
Thanks very much, George Stephanopoulos, and indeed he puts his finger on it. In the race for the Democratic presidential nomination, Bradley has been hoping that a strong showing in today's Washington state primary would boost his campaign. The primary is referred to as a beauty contest, since the winner isn't awarded any delegates to the Democratic convention. Overall, however, as Mr. Bradley's campaign is in serious trouble, any win there would help. ABC's Jackie Judd is on the campaign again today.
In his search for a win somewhere, Bill Bradley campaigned today in California. But two advisors told ABC News the situation here is desperate. One said, at this point, we are just trying to maintain our dignity.
And I hope you'll help me send a message to the rest of the country.
Bradley himself does not sound any more optimistic about Washington state. He invested 6 days of campaigning there, gambling he could come from behind and be propelled into Super Tuesday. He left sounding pessimistic.
If we don't do well, that's not determinative. You know, we're going on to March 7th.
Some advisors insist it is still possible for Bradley to win enough states next week to stay in the race. Others already are talking about the campaign in the past tense. They say Bradley squandered too much time in Iowa, a state that was always a long shot, while John McCain, who skipped Iowa, romped in New Hampshire and got much more attention than Bradley. Disgruntled aides also point to Bradley's earlier reluctance to defend himself and his proposals against an aggressive Al Gore. An old friend said Bradley confused setting the record straight with going negative and so held back for too long. As one aide put it, Gore played like a soldier of fortune, while Bradley played by the Princeton Club rules. Jackie Judd, ABC News, San Francisco.
You can follow this on a minute-by-minute basis, as we do, at abcnews.com. When we come back, school violence. A first grader kills his classmate at their Michigan school. Tonight, we'll also take a closer look at the struggling Internal Revenue Service, losing billions of dollars in taxes year after year.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by GMC.
How much power do you really need? The Sierra Extended Cab has the most powerful standard engine of any truck in its class. Not because you need it now, but because one day you will. And being prepared for that day is what having a professional-grade truck is all about. The GMC Sierra, above and beyond.
What's so great about nasal Crom? Look at me. I'm not sneezing, but I'm not drowsy. I'm not stuffy, but I'm not jittery. I've never been not miserable in allergy season before. Nasal Crom's incredible. Unlike these, it can't make you drowsy. And unlike these, there's no possibility of nervousness or dizziness. It's the only allergy medicine that goes right to the source and flat out prevents allergy symptoms. Nasal Crom. The best way to stop suffering is never to start.
Right now, a complete pair of glasses is only $99 at LensCrafters.
With this offer, we're making it easier for more people to see. Easier for them to look good, too.
The LensCrafters $99 complete pair sale. Hurry, offer ends March 11th.
School violence. As we said, they are getting younger. In Michigan today, the child with the gun was in first grade, and so was the girl police say that he shot and killed. ABC's Jim Williams reports from Mount Morris Township outside Flint.
Oh, my God, first grader.
As word spread, frantic parents rushed to the school.
Oh, but my baby is in there. I almost died. It scared me really bad.
Authorities say the 6-year-old boy told them he brought the .32 caliber handgun to school hidden in his pants pocket. Shortly before 10 o'clock, police say he pulled out the gun in his first-grade classroom.
We believe that the young man pointed a gun first, pointed at another classmate, and then turned around, pointing the weapon at the young girl who was struck in the neck and who now has died.
The boy walked to a washroom and dropped the gun in a trash can. Police say the gun used in the shooting was reported stolen in December of last year. The boy told investigators he took the gun from home. Investigators say the boy had an argument with the victim yesterday.
There may have been some sort of scuffle or quarrel on the playground the day before the shooting between this little boy and this little girl.
School officials say it is unlikely tighter security would have prevented the shooting.
When you have a first grader who sneaks a weapon into the building, that's very difficult to monitor.
The prosecutor says the boy is too young to have formed criminal intent, but if adults are found to be negligent, they could be charged with manslaughter. Jim Williams, ABC News, Flint, Michigan.
This problem of children and guns, more particularly children who abuse guns, is a complicated one. It's about handgun training and availability. And in a case before the Supreme Court today, it's about the Fourth Amendment, having to do with search and seizure. ABC's Bob Woodruff reports from Washington.
This case started on this corner. Working from an anonymous tip, the Miami police searched a 15-year-old boy and found him illegally carrying a gun. It seemed like the kind of police work the National Rifle Association has been pushing for, a crackdown on criminals instead of legal gun owners. But today, the NRA backed the criminal, joining those who say searching for guns only on the basis of a tip violates constitutional protections against unreasonable searches and seizures.
I can call the police and say that Joe Smith has a weapon on him and he's playing out in his front yard with his kids. Now, does that allow the police to drive up on your property and frisk you and search you?
But police argue that guns are so dangerous, any information should justify a search.
If you misjudge it, you're injured or you're dead. And that's what's involved here. Guns are a whole different creature.
Today, some justices indicated they thought the usual rules against searching on the basis of anonymous tips can be outweighed by the degree of danger presented to the public. Justice O'Connor, what if it's in a school? Justice Breyer, suppose it was a bomb at a school.
But there was also concern about giving police too much power to make a search just because there is a tip. As Justice Scalia put it, what if the tipster is another policeman? Bob Woodruff, ABC News, the Supreme Court.
On the money tonight, Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 89 points to close at 10,128. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up more than 118 points. Next on the broadcast, speaking of money, the billions of dollars in taxes that the government can't or hasn't collected. We'll take a closer look.
This is the face of erectile dysfunction. So is this. And this. Fact is, 1 in 3 men have some form of ED, a medical condition also called impotence that affects men of every age, race, and background. What else do all these men have in common? They all faced up to their problem and got help. If you're experiencing ED, there's no need to hide your face. Just talk to your doctor. It's the best way to get educated about ED and how to treat it.
When I give my girlfriend a gift, I try to think like her. And since I know she's thinking of me, I just buy her something I want, like a dune buggy.
We are healthy, strong, funny, energetic, even sexy. We take good care of ourselves, and we drink Ensure when we can eat nutritious foods like these. Ensure provides essential vitamins and minerals you find in vegetables, calcium like in milk, and protein like in fish. Ensure is a source of complete balanced nutrition and energy, so we can get the most out of life. Drink Ensure, and drink to your health.
Is your asthma really under control?
Yeah, but sometimes I wheeze.
Ever wake up short of breath?
I do.
Use your fast-acting inhaler more than twice a week.
I use mine every day.
If that's what you call control, ask your doctor if prescription Flovent is right for you. Flovent twice a day helps control the inflammation that can cause asthma symptoms in the first place and helps improve lung function. Flovent won't replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden attacks. People switching from an oral steroid like prednisone to Flovent, an inhaled steroid, need to be especially careful. While adjusting to the switch, your body is not as able to heal after surgery, infection, or a serious injury. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve.
Now this is control.
Flovent, helping you define asthma control.
There are 46 days now until it is time once again to pay your taxes. Just a friendly advisory. On Capitol Hill today, a congressional subcommittee heard testimony about how much money the Internal Revenue Service is failing to collect. In the last 10 years, about $231 billion in taxes has been lost to the federal treasury. And so we thought we'd better take a closer look. Here's ABC's Michelle Norris.
The IRS has a reputation for aggressive pay-up-or-be-punished tactics. But with billions in uncollected taxes, that reputation may not be well-deserved.
The IRS continues to have difficulty managing unpaid taxes and refunds. The difficulty has resulted in burden to taxpayers and has likely cost the federal government billions of dollars.
The GAO predicts that most of the money will never be collected. Lawmakers are not happy.
One of the reasons people pay taxes is they think the IRS really follows this stuff. And now you look at that, you wonder who's working over there.
In general, the GAO audit paints a picture of an agency in chaos, lax security, and shoddy record-keeping. The IRS says improvements have been slow in coming because of high employee turnover and a computer system that dates back to the Kennedy administration.
Any corporation of this size and not knowing who its customers are and whether they're credit-worthy or not is going to have some loss in collecting its bills.
But with losses in the billions, lawmakers weren't buying that explanation.
If they're tax cheats, let's go after them.
It seems to me that we're going to come to the point where the general public begins to sense that there are a lot of folks that are not paying their fair share.
And that's the point. The tax system in this country depends on the notion that all Americans pay their fair share. Lawmakers worry that IRS failures send a bad message, leading others to believe that they too can get away without paying taxes. Michelle Norris, ABC News, Washington.
For those of you who are convinced that some people in the country do not pay their fair share, here's some cannon fodder. The Treasury Department says it's a disgrace what many American corporations are doing, that many of them pay little or no federal income tax at all, and they cost the Treasury about $10 billion a year. What are they doing? Here's ABC's Bob Jamieson.
Treasury Department officials say they are alarmed by how many corporations are now using illegal shelters. In recent months, officials have taken action against such prominent companies as Colgate-Palmolive, Compaq Computer, United Parcel Service, and Allied Signal. All deny any wrongdoing. Treasury officials know the IRS is losing $10 billion a year, but Secretary Lawrence Summers says that is only the tip of an iceberg.
It appears that the issue is growing quite rapidly with an increasing volume of these shelters posing an ever greater threat to the integrity of the tax system and to individual taxpayers.
This week, Treasury officials stopped the use of a shelter becoming increasingly popular with corporate America, known as the debt straddle. It works this way. A corporation makes two loans to an affiliated company. The corporation arranges things so that in the case of loan one, the interest rate drops to zero. The corporation doesn't make a profit and is allowed to take a tax loss. Meanwhile, it doubles the interest rate on loan two and transfers it to the books of a friendly company in a foreign country where American companies are not taxed. The net result is a reduction in the overall tax bill. Officials say such shelters are an important reason corporate tax payments are falling. At the same time, corporations are making bigger profits because of the robust economy. Tax revenue from corporations fell last year by 2% or $4 billion, while tax revenue from individuals jumped by more than 6% or almost $71 billion.
If you find that you're paying an extra $500 or $1,000 a year in taxes just so some big company can shelter its income, I think you ought to be outraged.
The Treasury Department wants Congress to declare illegal any shelter that has as its only purpose avoiding taxes. So far, the Republican leadership has given that idea a cold reception. Bob Jamieson, ABC News, New York.
You can also have a closer look at this on abcnews.com. When we come back, where are the helicopters?
Tylenol
Lifestyle House Call. Information for healthy living.
My headaches just knock me out, right out of commission.
I get back pain. It can be brutal sometimes.
Arthritis pain in my shoulder.
There's so many reasons why people use pain relievers. And these days, so many choices as well.
I think they're all about the same, pretty much.
Actually, not all pain relievers are the same. Sometimes pain relievers like aspirin and even ibuprofen can cause stomach irritation. And in some cases, this irritation can occur without any symptoms.
I didn't know aspirin could do that.
One pain reliever that won't cause that kind of stomach irritation is the medicine in Tylenol. In fact, Tylenol is the most gentle pain reliever for your stomach. Questions? Talk to your doctor.
Oh, I think people are definitely confused about which flea and tick protection to use for their dogs and cats. Yeah, there's others out there, but fact is, Frontline's still the best. That's because Frontline kills 100% of fleas within a day. And only Frontline kills all major ticks, including the one that can carry Lyme disease. There it is.
For fleas and ticks, Frontline is the veterinarian's #1 choice.
Oh, he agrees.
The Gateway Select PC is powered by a 650 megahertz AMD Athlon processor. Which makes it the fastest $1,299 PC in town. Any town. Call 1-800-GATEWAY.
Nobody does it like you.
Wind Tunnel by Hoover is here. It's breakthrough technology. Tests show it picks up more dirt than any other clean air upright. Wind Tunnel by Hoover.
Does it like you.
What if more people started their day with one a day's energy formula?
Hey, you're it. Let's see you me.
It's just one of many tailored formulas.
Come get me.
Because feeling your best is possible in a one-a-day world.
Overseas today, the government of Mozambique now estimates more than 1 million people have been affected by the floods there. Several countries and relief organizations have sent food and tents, but for the thousands of people who are in grave and immediate danger still, Mozambique needs something else. ABC's Sheila McVicker is there.
Almost everywhere you look, at this bridge, which used to span the Limpopo River, at these rooftops where hundreds of people were huddled today, and in a treetop where one man held on. Everywhere you look, it is obvious that what is needed are more helicopters and more helicopter crews. The river currents are too strong for rescue boats. They need helicopters, and today there were exactly 7 helicopters flying rescue missions. But getting more helicopters is a problem. Neighboring South Africa does have 30 more helicopters, but the government there says that some are needed for flood relief at home, and the South Africans want to know who would pay the bill. Very few other countries in Africa have large helicopters, and they have absolutely no means of transporting them over long distances. The U.S. and its allies have helicopters in Europe, but they say it would take days before they could be in the region. They would rather pay the South Africans for their helicopters. The pilots have been flying these rescue missions for nearly 3 weeks since the flooding began. They were working small miracles again today. They are flying from dawn to well past dusk, knowing that when they stop, there are people who die. Sheila McVicker, ABC News, Maputo, Mozambique.
Natural disaster in Brazil. A giant mudslide buries a poor suburb of Sao Paulo. 12 people have died there. The mudslide caused by torrential rains hit at rush hour, stranding drivers and forcing some commuters to wade home through filthy, waist-deep water. And back in Africa, the world's largest diamond company, De Beers, said today that it will no longer buy diamonds from any part of Africa where there is an armed insurrection against a legitimate government. As we have reported here before, the United Nations has been pressing for an end to the illegal diamond trade for guns in several parts of Africa. The UN says that one rebel group in Angola has made $4 billion from illegal diamond exports in the last 8 years. When we come back, philanthropy for dummies. Sort of.
I'm 64.
Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
Lobster Fest has arrived. Our annual celebration of everything lobster. So don't hide. Escape to Red Lobster.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Thanks, Tim. It's Tom. Tom, when you're as busy as I am, you tend to forget things. When it comes to office supplies, you got to be on the ball. That's why I like Staples.com. They send me emails reminding me when to stock up on the supplies I need to keep my office humming. It makes things easy. My days of forgetting are behind me.
Want to give them 10 more minutes? Order anything, anytime, anywhere with overnight delivery. Staples.com. Hey, you don't have to run out.
Itchy allergic rash? The dermatologist I work for recommends Cordate. It stops the itch and helps heal the rash to restore your skin. There's no brand doctors recommend more. In fact, doctors recommend Cordate more than 4-to-1 over Cortisone 10. Cordate, restore your skin.
He's a tough cop.
Do I gotta smack you in the back of the head?
But tonight,
would you think this would be all right?
Andy Sipowicz must face the one thing he fears most. A date. All new NYPD Blue, ABC tonight. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News, Washington state voters make their picks in the state primary. Political analyst Tim Hibbets joins us with his predictions. Plus, a new victim comes forward to accuse a former Forest Grove music teacher of sex abuse. I'm Steve Dunn. Local News is next.
Well, finally this evening, for all you dummies, well, for all of us dummies, actually, because this is about the graduate who did so well by the rest of us. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology says that one of its graduates, Patrick McGovern, is giving MIT $350 million for brain research. That is the largest donation ever made to one school by one person.
The creation of the McGovern Institute will launch one of the most profound and important scientific ventures of this century.
It was time, McGovern thought, for him and his wife to give something back.
We hope that the discoveries at this institute will contribute greatly to elevating the quality of life, a sense of human satisfaction, and learning throughout the world.
Oh, on the subject of learning, Patrick McGovern gets all his money from publishing all the guides for dummies. Photography for dummies, vitamins for dummies, gardening for dummies, Shakespeare for dummies. They sell millions of copies and make millions of dollars. How appropriate that Mr. McGovern is interested in the brain.
Really a great place.
And that's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening. Good night.
From ABC News tomorrow, Kathy Lee's leaving, and she and Frank talk to Diane Sawyer first.
If you're thinking that money's going to bring you happiness, you're wrong.
Don't miss Good Morning America tomorrow and on World News Tonight. Millions on top of millions, and it's still not fixed. Is the government throwing away money that could be in your pocket? Watch World News Tonight. This has been a presentation of ABC.